Chapter 17 Shraddhatraya Vibhaga Yoga, the Yoga of Threefold Faith. After hearing Krishna speak of the divine and demoniac qualities, Arjuna's heart is still unsettled. He now asks an important question. What about those who do not follow scripture, but worship with faith? Is their faith Sattvic or rajasic? This is the beginning of chapter 17, where Krishna explains that faith itself is born of the three gunas. Whatever a person's nature, so is their faith, and so is their destiny. Here Krishna unveils the difference between pure faith, restless faith, and dark faith. How even food, rituals, and sacrifices carry the mark of Sattva, Rajas, or Tamas. And most importantly, how true faith rooted in clarity and devotion leads to liberation. Psychology relates this to the power of belief systems. How what we believe shapes what we become. Neuroscience shows that faith and intention directly rewire the brain and body. Logic makes it clear. The seed determines the fruit, and the quality of faith determines the outcome of life. Thus begins chapter 17, a journey into the mystery of faith itself, and how to cultivate the kind that leads us to the Supreme. Arjuna begins chapter 17 with curiosity. He asks, what of those who worship with faith, but do not follow the scriptures? Is their faith Sattvic, rajasic, or tamasic? This is a deep question, because not all faith is the same. Faith shapes destiny, but its quality depends on the guna that dominates a person's nature. Krishna's answer in verses 2 to 3, Krishna replies, faith is of three kinds. O Arjuna, born of Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas. A person's faith matches their inner nature. As is one's faith, so is one truly. Meaning, faith is not random. It reflects the guna that is most dominant within us. Sattvic faith, pure calm, directed toward truth and harmony. Rajasic faith, driven by desire, ambition, and restlessness. Tamasic faith, rooted in ignorance, fear, and destructive tendencies. Psychology explains this as the deep role of belief systems. People don't believe what they want. They believe according to who they are inside. Neuroscience shows that faith literally conditions the nervous system, creating patterns of thought, emotion, and action that repeat. Logic affirms, the quality of the soil decides the crop. Likewise, the quality of faith decides the life we grow. Thus, Krishna reveals the foundation. Our guna decides our faith, and our faith decides our path. Verse 4. The direction of worship. Krishna explains. Those of Sattva, guna, worship the devas, divine beings. Forces of light, those of Rajas guna worship yakshas, and Rakshasa spirits and beings, driven by power and desire. Those of Tamas guna worship ghosts and spirits, dark forces, born of ignorance. Meaning, the object of faith reveals the quality of faith. Pure hearts seek purity, restless minds seek power, and clouded minds seek darkness. Verse 5 to 6. False austerities. Krishna then warns about those who practice harsh disciplines not approved by scripture, driven by pride, ego, and desire to control. They torture their own body. They torture the supreme soul dwelling within. Such practices are demonic, not divine. The message is clear. True faith uplifts and aligns with harmony. False faith, born of arrogance or ignorance, only brings harm. Psychology. Faith is projection. We are drawn to that which matches our inner state. If the mind is pure, it seeks goodness. If restless, it chases power. If clouded, it clings to fear and superstition. Neuroscience. What you focus on wires your brain. Worshipping light strengthens higher centers of the brain, peace, compassion. Worshipping fear or darkness activates lower circuits, anxiety, aggression, logic. A mirror reflects the face before it. Faith reflects the inner nature of the believer. So Krishna is teaching, not all faith is equal. It is colored by the guna that dominates us. True spirituality means aligning faith with sattva, leading to harmony and growth. Verse 7. Krishna declares, even the food each person prefers is shaped by the three gunas qualities of nature. Food is not just nutrition, it influences mind, energy, and even spiritual progress. Verse 8. Sattvic food, pleasing, juicy, nourishing, and pure, promotes health, strength, clarity, and long life. Examples: fresh fruits, vegetables, grains, milk, nuts. Food in sattva, good a purity, harmony, clarity, elevates both body and mind. Verse 9. Rajasic food, bitter, sour, salty, spicy, excessively hot, causes restlessness, agitation, and disease. Satisfies cravings but disturbs inner balance. Food in rajas, guna, passion, restlessness, craven, overstimulates the senses and leads to imbalance. Verse 10. Tamasic food, stale, tasteless, putrid, decayed, impure, includes leftovers kept too long, alcohol, or unclean food. Leads to darkness, delusion, and lethargy. Food in tamas guna, ignorance, inertia, impurity, dulls the mind and drags the spirit downward. Psychology. You are what you eat, not only physically but mentally. Food becomes emotion, energy, and mood. Neuroscience. Fresh sattvic food provides stable glucose and neurotransmitter balance. Rajasic food overstimulates dopamine, leading to craving and anxiety. Tamasic food creates toxicity and sluggish brain activity. Logic. The fuel determines the engine's performance. Pure fuel brings efficiency, impure fuel brings breakdown. Thus, Krishna teaches Arjuna that even the simple act of eating reflects the guna dominating within. Conscious food choice is a step toward conscious living. Verse 11. Sattvic sacrifice. Krishna says, that sacrifice which is performed with faith, as a duty, without expectation of reward, is sattvic, done with sincerity and devotion, offered for purification, not personal gain. A sattvic yajna uplifts the soul and connects one with the divine. Verse 12. Rajasic sacrifice performed for material benefit, prestige, or recognition. Look at me, see my charity, honor my rituals. Sacrifice under rajas guna is ego-driven, leading to temporary rewards, but not liberation. Verse 13. Tamasic sacrifice performed without faith, against scriptural guidance, without food offerings or proper mantras, often done with violence, arrogance, or disregard for tradition. Such yajna has no real spiritual value and only deepens ignorance. Psychology. Sattvic sacrifice reflects selfless giving. Rajasic sacrifice mirrors performance for applause. Tamasic sacrifice shows mechanical or blind actions without meaning. Neuroscience. Selfless acts activate brain regions linked to empathy and long-term well-being. Ego-driven acts stimulate short bursts of dopamine, fleeting pleasure, soon followed by emptiness. Thoughtless or harmful acts reinforce negative pathways, dulling awareness. Logic. The value of a gift is not in its size, but in the intention behind it. Krishna reveals that the spirit behind an action matters more than the action itself. Even yajna, the holiest act, becomes pure, restless, or dark depending on the guna within. Verse 14. Austerity of the body, sharira tapas. Krishna explains that true bodily austerity means worship of the divine, teachers, and wise elders, cleanliness, honesty, nonviolence, and celibacy, self-control. This is sattvic discipline of the body, making it a temple of purity. Verse 15. Austerity of speech, vibhiki tapas. Speaking words that are truthful, pleasant, beneficial, and not hurtful. Chanting sacred texts regularly. Words carry energy. Sattvic speech heals, rajasic speech agitates, tamasic speech wounds. Verse 16. Austerity of the mind, manasa tapas. Calmness, gentleness, silence, self-control, and purity of thought. A sattvic mind shines with balance, compassion, and clarity. Verse 17. Sattvic when body, speech, and mind discipline are practiced with faith, seeking no reward but inner purification. The tapas is sattvic. Verse 18. Rajasic, austerity, done to gain respect, honor, or recognition. Outward show of discipline, but inwardly driven by ego. Such tapas is unstable and temporary. Verse 19. Tamasic austerity performed out of foolish stubbornness, self-torture, or to harm others. This is darkness disguised as discipline. Psychology. Sattvic austerity equals self-mastery and healthy self-discipline. Rajasic austerity equals performance for social approval, leading to anxiety when recognition is missing. Tamasic austerity equals harmful repression, leading to suffering instead of growth. Neuroscience. Consistent self-control strengthens prefrontal cortex pathways, focus, willpower. Ego-driven austerity activates reward circuits, but fades quickly. Harsh self-destructive practices overstimulate stress pathways, harming both brain and body. Logic. Discipline is like fire. When controlled, it cooks food. When uncontrolled, it burns the house. Thus Krishna shows, real tapas is not self-punishment, but self-purification. When body, speech, and mind align in sattva, the whole being becomes a channel for the divine. Verse 20. Sattvic charity DNA. Krishna explains that charity given at the proper time and place, to a worthy person, without expectation of return, is sattvic. It uplifts both giver and receiver, becoming an act of pure goodness. Verse 21. Rajasic charity. Charity given unwillingly, or with the hope of gaining something in return, or for recognition and pride, it feeds the ego more than it relieves suffering. Verse 22. Tamasic charity. Charity given at the wrong time, wrong place, to unworthy persons, or without respect, is tamasic. It lacks wisdom, and instead of helping, it harms both giver and receiver. Psychology. Sattvic charity springs from empathy and compassion, creating deep joy and connection. Rajasic charity resembles transactional relationships, often leaving emptiness when praise fades. Tamasic charity mirrors irresponsibility, ignorance, or enabling destructive behavior. Neuroscience. Genuine giving activates helpers high, oxytocin and dopamine circuits that enhance happiness. Rajasic giving stimulates short-term reward pathways, praise, status, but doesn't create lasting satisfaction. Tamasic giving may increase stress or guilt, as the act lacks alignment with conscience. Logic. Charity is like planting seeds. Sattvic equals planting in fertile soil gives growth. Rajasic equals planting for show gives withers quickly. Tamasic equals throwing seeds into fire gives nothing grows. Thus Krishna teaches, true DNA is sacred when guided by wisdom and humility. Charity without purity is wasted effort, but charity with sattva becomes worship itself. Verse 23. The threefold mantra Krishna declares, Om Tat Sat. This has been declared as the triple designation of Brahman. By this were created, in ancient times, the Brahmans, the Vedas, and sacrifices. Om represents the eternal sound, the universal vibration. Tat means that, reminding us that actions are done for the supreme, not selfish gain. Sat means truth, goodness, and reality. Verse 24 to 25. Sanctity of actions, acts of sacrifice, charity, and austerity, performed with Om purifying and align with the divine. When done with Tat, they become selfless, aimed at the highest truth, and Sat seals them as true, good, and enduring. Verse 26 through 27, meaning of Sat. Krishna clarifies that Sat is used to describe existence, truth, and auspicious. When charity, penance, or sacrifice is performed in line with Sat, it gains eternal value. Verse 28, without Om Tat, Sat, any act of sacrifice, penance, or charity performed without faith in these sacred principles is called Asat, unreal, fruitless, and of no value here or hereafter. Psychology. Om symbolizes mindfulness, bringing awareness to every act. Tat shifts focus from ego to higher purpose, reducing anxiety and pride. Sat grounds us in truth and sincerity, protecting against hypocrisy. Neuroscience. Chanting Om synchronizes brainwaves, calming the nervous system. Living with Tat reduces stress, since actions aren't tied to ego outcomes. Sat reinforces positive neural patterns. Honesty, consistency, and integrity strengthen brain stability. Logic. A building lasts only if built on solid foundation. Likewise, Om awareness, Tat, selflessness, Sat, truth, are the foundation of meaningful action. Without them, deeds collapse like a house of sand. Thus Krishna concludes chapter 17. Faith directs life. The three gunas shape faith, which shapes actions, and actions shape destiny. But when guided by Om Tat, Sat, life itself becomes sacred, leading to liberation.